for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.
Well, hey everybody! Thanks for stopping by. Christine is dressed up like a camouflaged rebel commando from Star Wars in her. What is it about us going live and your cat having to sit behind you whenever you're on camera?
He is just waiting patiently to be discovered because he knows he's going to get his big break at some point.
He needs a TikTok.
He does. I barely have enough time for my own TikTok. I can't run my cat's TikTok too. He's got to get opposable thumbs and do that himself.
Give your kids like access to the cat's TikTok and see what happens.
I won't even give my kids access to the cat. He's terrified of him.
It sounds like a parenting problem.
Maybe. I don't know. My kids have like a really rebellious nature. I'm pretty sure they get it from their father.
You know, our buddy Patrick Dennis is the only person in the video lounge in the viewing lounge right now. So it's almost like, is it even worth it if it's just Patrick?
Of course.
I mean, it's totally worth it if it's Patrick.
It's worth it because it's just Patrick.
Yes, exactly. We can have a one-on-one with Patrick. We are your own BetterHelp, Patrick.
Yeah, we should just like bring him on.
Right. Oh heavens, are you kidding me? You think I get in a lot of trouble? Oh, hey, Bob's here too. Oh,
hey,
more people are showing up.
Yeah. I met Sue in person. I was a little bummed that I didn't get to meet Bob too, but that's okay.
Trust me, Sue is like, Bob is great, but Sue is so much more attractive.
Well, I would hope you would say that.
And I can only say that because Bob's way up there in the 7th district. And so I have news for everyone, by the way. They're available, folks. We have beanies.
Ooh, just in time.
Yeah, we have beanies. So if you are a fan of the show, or you just tune in because Christine's better to look at than me, for Navigating the Northwoods, we do have Minnesota Black Robe Regiment beanies, and there's like this charcoal and this one, and if you're interested, you can email me at tcpearson@protonmail.com, or you can @robe regiment me on Twitter, or reach out to Christine and she'll just tell me who it is. So, but here's the deal: if you want it, you got to pay for it ahead of time because I'm having them made to order, and they're all set up and ready to go. And Sue said Bob's a knuckle dragger and scary. That's, you know what? That's not even. I'm not even going to require a super chat for that. That's just comment of the night right there already. So, Patrick Dennis needs one ASAP. A knuckle dragger or a hat, Pat. That's what I. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, this is Navigating the Northwoods, and before we get going too far, I have a fresh batch of coffee that's in and ready for people to buy. And Patrick's talking about he's going to have his people get a hold of you people for one. You people? Who is you people? Oh, we were both thinking it, weren't we? Who are you calling you people?
Who is us people?
It's you and I now. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Christmas time, hats, sweatshirts, travel mugs. Anything you buy will automatically help Christine double what she's making right now on the for doing the show. But one reminder to everyone, if you guys are not aware, I am doing a fundraiser right now for my friend Dana Stevens and her Give Send Go. very good cause. It's for a probate attorney fund. I'm going to continue to mention this until the end of January, folks, because this is a really big. This is a precedent-setting case, in as it revolves her mom and a certain set of protocols that did lead to her mother's passing in an untimely and unlikely way. And she's got attorneys lined up and doctors lined up, but she does have to have some money for the probate attorney to handle all of this on a technical. Probate attorneys don't work pro bono. Okay. There's no money in it for a probate attorney to work pro bono, but her legal counsel has told her she needs a probate. So she is working on getting a probate, and I decided we were going to help her out. And here's the deal. Anybody who donates $100 or more directly to Dana's Give, Send, Go gets $15 credit to anything that I sell: coffee, beanies, any of the other merchandise. So you get a $15 credit. And if you order a bag of coffee and if you do the $100 between now and the end of January and you want a bag of coffee, that basically means you get the coffee and the shipping for free. So that's a really good deal. And it's phenomenal coffee, by the way. And I'm not biased at all. And
it's going to a great cause.
It is going to a great cause. And that's if you donate directly. So if you can't do $100 today, but you can do $25 this week and $25 in 2 weeks and $25 in another 2 weeks and $25 2 weeks from there before the end of January, and you can verify that you did that, I will honor that $100. And we already have a couple of people that have stepped up and done that. And one set of those people will be getting their coffee pretty soon. The other aspect of that is if you choose to buy merchandise from me, or you choose to go to the Subscribe Star to support the show, any of its iterations, whether it's my Monday Night Musings, Navigating the Northwoods with Christine and I, or any of the other series or any of the other conversations or interviews that I do, and you decide to do that through Subscribe Star, between now and the end of January, 15% of all my proceeds from my YouTube income, my Subscribe Star income, and any of my sales are also going to support Dana. So you can do it one way or another, whatever works best for you. But please help me help Dana, or go help Dana yourself personally, because we really want to see this. This literally is everybody talks about this could be precedent setting. It is literally precedent setting. I don't know how else to describe this. I've had a couple of conversations with Dana now about this, and I've heard the encouragement from the doctor and the attorneys that she's speaking with. And who knows, right? The medical industrial complex has woven itself immunity, just like public sector employees have granted themselves I won't even get qualified immunity. I won't even get started on it. But the medical community has done that. And as Christine has heard and others have heard, there's also now the push for pandemic immunity right now, because we just didn't know. Yeah. So they are angling for it, and this could be the case that blows that wide open. So, Christine, you picked the topic, which is kind of where we've been at for the last several shows. First three really so far. So, well, I do all of the thinking for all the other shows, so somebody else has to do it.
That's fair.
But you picked a title, and you also, and I had to modify it a little bit to get it all in the screen, but you picked the topic for the show, and I think it's a pertinent topic, and I think it kind of falls in line with some of the scuttle that's been going around as well. I had somebody message me today and tell me, basically confirm what I've been hearing. And I've been hearing it from a lot of sources. Text messages and stuff have been coming in. Private messages on Twitter have been coming in that Chairman Hahn looks like he might be on shaky ground and on his way out.
It's sounding like it,
and it should be. I mean, Carnahan should have never been. Hahn, I can understand, was better than Carnahan, but that's like saying testicular cancer is a little bit better than colon and breast cancer combined. You know, okay, marginally, but the absolute trouncing that the Minnesota GOP got this year in the midterm elections for all of its constitutional offices, is directly on the shoulders of the Minnesota GOP, and therefore it falls directly on the shoulders of Minnesota GOP leadership and the executive council and the central committee. They have to own this, and so in Minecraft, heads have to roll, and I think when we talk about leadership, Christine, whether it be party leadership or party leadership in these elected servants positions, it has a drastic effect on how elections are run. And we also have to ask ourselves, what do majority and even minority leadership positions within the House and the Senate, what kind of power do they have and what sway do they have on the day-to-day life of your average Minnesotan, and which is why you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
So for the viewing audience, who is the new House Majority Leader and the new Senate Majority Leader here in Minnesota?
So the new House Majority Leader is, I took copious notes, Melissa Hortman. So she was elected way back in 2004, and she's a Democrat, obviously, since they have the majority. And then she's the Speaker. The Majority Leader is Jamie Long. She was elected in 2018. And then the Senate Majority Leader is Carrie Dietzick. So on the Senate positions, I did not find a lot of information on bills that those folks have passed, or how a whole lot of, I guess, indication one way or another on what specific areas might be of great interest, or areas that they're wanting to move on. But the messaging that's been sent out by both the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader is obviously reproductive rights was like the first thing that they listed, which is particularly concerning with Melissa Hortman, the Minnesota Speaker of the House, because recently she co-authored a bill, and actually, I mean, there were 33 authors on this bill in the House last session, but she co-authored a bill that would enable law enforcement and family members to petition the court to prohibit people from possessing firearms if they pose a significant danger to themselves or others by possessing a firearm. So a red flag law, essentially.
No, not essentially. That is verbatim a red flag law. It mimics all of the red flag law language across the United States.
Right. And so that was one of two major bills that she co-authored. Now, again, that one had 33 authors on it. So 6 of which were not reelected, but were replaced with other Democrats in this election.
Well, I mean, who wasn't replaced by a Democrat in this election?
Well, I mean, so at least in the Senate, they only lost 1 seat. The Republicans only lost 1 seat.
Right, but that was enough.
Right, that was enough to be a problem.
Right.
So
I mean, like, folks, we are it. So I got some feedback in a video, or on the video I did with Sandy from last week, where I had her on to talk about her experience with New York's SAFE Act and their NICS reporting, which is basically, if you end up going in for mental health treatment voluntarily, if you're forced to go in, that's automatically reported. But if you go in voluntarily and the professional that sees you chooses to determine, no matter what you say, that you could be in danger of harm to self or others, you can be reported to New York. Well, this is happening in a lot of states. And I got a lot of feedback from one person in particular who literally said that there needs to be mandatory mental health testing for anybody to purchase a firearm. And this is in the chat of the video, not the live chat, the actual post live stream chat. And this person arguing, going so far as to say that things like 23andMe could become very good tools for the state to check the genetic predisposition of a person towards mental illness or criminal behavior, because there's an argument by some that certain criminal behaviors are genetic and that they are tied to genetic causes to certain mental disorders.
Do these people not understand that pre-crime goes against the very idea of justice in this country? Like,
they don't care, Christine. They do not care.
Well, sometimes I wonder if it's just a fundamental lack of understanding. Like
No, that's too generous. It's an
one
agenda.
thing I'm not often accused of, so I'll take
Well,
it.
you need to temper yourself. What was it? You need to reconsider your.
Oh, I need to reevaluate my behavior.
Reevaluate your behavior. Yes. And if anybody can get Christine to reevaluate her behavior, you get a free beanie.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not worried about that happening. So
No.
But so you have the Senate Majority Leader, the elect. I mean, I don't think they've officially taken that position yet, have they?
No, they don't take it until they're sworn in.
Patrick says challenge accepted. Just out of curiosity, Patrick, how is getting certain people like, I don't know, Lee to reconsider their positions? How's that going? Like, and Christine is far more stubborn than Lee is. But so the person who's taking over leadership of the Senate in Minnesota, which we lost because the Minnesota GOP did a crap job of fighting to hold any positions. I mean, guys like, our friend Nate Wiesenberg, he got in without much help from the Minnesota GOP.
I would say he got in with the opposite of help.
Yeah, he had to fight tooth. He had to fight tooth and nail for that. So, and you've got weak-kneed, milquetoast, panty-waisted pansies out there in the Minnesota GOP who are going to test the winds, and they're going to go with it. And despite what that individual, I can't remember what county he's from, told our friend Carol that, Jordan now knows, and he's going to have to toe the line. No, he's not. He's going to go up there and he's going to do whatever looks to be popular enough to keep him in that position, whether it violates the Constitution or not. And it's going to be the same with guys like Tory Westrom, as we've seen their records decline. So they're going to follow whatever the Senate majority does, just because they're not going to want to be painted out to be or made out to be radicals. And so this is what's facing us. We're radical anti-baby legislation. Let's call it what it is. It's radical anti-baby legislation and radical anti-Second Amendment legislation. And once they can kill your babies and take your guns, nothing stops them from taking your First Amendment. And we've seen them do that for the last 2 years. That's been the DFL and a lackluster Minnesota GOP.
Well,
go ahead, Christine.
Yeah, so a couple things on that. I think that the more detrimental threat right now is to our Second Amendment rights, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is, if the Democrats wanted to codify abortion, they would have done it already. They've had plenty of opportunities. They would have done it already. Not having abortion rights be quote unquote guaranteed anywhere is of great value to them. It's part of the reason why they ran such a successful campaign against Scott Jensen, because every single ad that you saw or heard about Scott Jensen had to do with abortion, even though that was very little of his own talking points during the election. And in fact, he tried to kind of go milquetoast on it, to try to make it seem like, I'm not this crazy radical pro-lifer or whatever. So I don't think that the first thing we're going to see is a whole bunch of abortion legislation coming down the pike. I think that
they don't need to. They don't need to.
To think that. No.
Well, they don't need to, because it's in the Constitution of the state.
Right.
So suddenly they care about the Constitution.
Right. Yeah. Suddenly they care about the Constitution. However, so I think that the Second Amendment threat is much greater right now, and the reason I think that is because you've got the House Majority Leader, or the Speaker of the House, who co-authored with all the other Democrats in the House this massive red flag law. However, I do have hope, because the House Minority Leader, Lisa DeMuth, chief authored several gun rights led pieces of legislation in the last session. Now, I don't think that they passed, or I don't think they got far enough to pass to become law at that time. But there was one where it expanded the use of deadly force for civilians during states of emergency. There was essentially what boils down to a stand your ground law.
You've got a lot of people in Rocks and Cows in Minnesota right now are going, okay, Gov, go ahead and declare another state of emergency. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Bob, I think you're right. Bob says 10-round magazine bans coming this session, which means like all my pistols are out.
And thank you, Bob, for saying magazine. And I know that I know you would say magazine because you understand the difference between a magazine and a clip. I'm glad no one said clip, because it would have caused a TC style rant, and we won't be having that, because Christine has informed me that the feedback is the show is good up to about 45 minutes, and then after that you lose me.
I have bad news. My computer just told me that it's going to shut down at 8:07. So.
Oh, so are you on your computer? Can't you delay that?
No, it gave me the option to restart now or just say okay. So I guess the computer wins the beanie.
No, the computer just forced you. Your computer just went full Governor Walz on you.
It did. Yep. Yeah. So I think that does give me a small ray of hope. Now, Lisa was elected in 2018 as well, so she's been there for a while. She's on the Education, Finance, Early Childhood, and Health Finance committees, all places that I think that we need a leader to be knowledgeable in. But the problem is that in both sides of our legislature, we're going to be playing defense. And so
no, we're not, though. We're not. And I have hope in people like Walter Hudson, who I have a profound amount of respect for. And I certainly have hope with guys like, Nate being elected. But I don't think it's going to be defense. I don't think the Minnesota GOP leadership, you got Kurt Dowd up there. Like, he's not going to play defense.
He's out. Kurt Dowd's no longer.
Oh, did he lose his election?
Well, no, he's still a representative, but he's no longer the House Minority Leader. They voted.
No, I'm just saying, I'm not talking about him being in a leadership position. I'm just saying he has a voice up there, and all of the supposed centrist types are still going to listen to him. They're still going to listen to him because he's going to play nice with the left.
Right.
And so it will not be a game of defense. So what here's my take. Here's what you're going to see from the Minnesota GOP, which is what we've been seeing and you've personally experienced at their hands. You're going to see a lot of gaseous vomiting about what they oppose and what they're going to do. And then behind the scenes, they're going to be doing a lot of handshaking and deal making so that they can say, look, we've opposed this legislation. But there's just, what did we hear from the Senate all the time during the coup lockdowns? Well, we've tried, but there's nothing we can do.
Which is such, I mean, they knew it was crap.
Right, but they didn't want to do anything about it. That's the thing.
Right.
And so you're going to get people in the House, and you're going to get people in the Senate, which is why we need guys like Walter Hudson and Nate Wiesenberg, who are going to be willing to put themselves out there and say, look, I'm listening to all of the talk, and they're going to play ball. They're just going to act like they're fighting it. Because I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to act like they're fighting it, but they're going to behind the scenes, they're going to cut deals because that's what they do. That's
right.
what they do
I just
all the
don't
time.
know what Walter and Nathan can do about that.
They can't stop it, but they can report it.
They can. And I think that's where we as constituents need to come in, and we need to be listening to those voices that are here to tell. Well, Mortensen was a perfect example. Now, unfortunately, he's not in there anymore, but he was one who would come out and tell you, this is what's happening, this is what they're doing. And a lot of people didn't like him for it, and I don't know why. I know a lot of people also didn't like, his campaign recently was, it was a lot about just what negatives against Tabke, and I think that rubbed some people the wrong way. And I also think that redistricting had a lot to do with Mortensen losing his spot. But,
It's the same reason. I did the video earlier this week that got me a strike, and then got me a strike and got me banned from doing live streams and everything for 2 weeks. And then these stupid sex bots.
That's a first for me.
Normally I like sex bots, but not on screen. So where was I going? So I did the video the other day, is like, what if I told you? And then I talked about the reality that ultimately Donald Trump's an insider, just like you're not a billionaire. You are not a multi-billionaire or a multi-millionaire in the United States, and not be part of the inside. And somebody who might be watching right now reported to me that before the video got taken down by YouTube and wasn't available to watch in a particular group that this was shared in, people in the group were saying that's disinformation. Like, what? Like, so here is what how do I want to say this? Here's what the problem ultimately is. That there's this blind loyalty to anything that puts an R by its name. And then the Republican Party, and you and I've talked about this. I know how you feel about parties, and I know you've had a little bit of you have rethought some things, especially after your training a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or whatever. But the Republican Party is more interested, and a lot of people in here have been talking about it, more interested in tearing itself apart by going after the genuine conservative types, liberty-minded types, than it is in doing any damage to the DFL.
Oh, 100%. That was made very, very clear in this state, especially and people who are not intimately involved in a campaign or a BPOU or something like that, they have no idea. They don't pay attention, and I don't blame them, because it is a lot of drama. But they don't pay attention to this stuff. So they don't know what was going on, that, there were people who probably aligned with the average voter more than the endorsed candidate on several occasions, and they were just completely, because they wouldn't toe the line.
Right.
You don't play the mafia's game. The mafia doesn't let you rank up.
Did you just say rank up?
Mm-hmm.
Are you a gamer girl on the
I
sly?
may have been in a previous life a gamer girl.
Uh, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
I was
Um,
actually to make a reference to Tom Clancy whenever you ripped on me for my camo.
which Tom Clancy?
Well, whenever I was a younger child, my brother and I had this PlayStation game, and I don't remember which title it was, but I remember it was a Tom Clancy.
Was it Rainbow Six?
It might have been Rainbow Six. That
That's a
does ring
big
a bell.
that's a big Clancy game, yeah.
Yeah, all I remember are the worlds. I remember the maps very vividly, but
Anyway, so I mean, the we're sitting here talking about legislative leadership within the House and in the Senate and what the majority and that's the thing people need to understand is like people don't walk into the Senate floor or the House floor and just say, okay, today I'm going to present this bill and it's just something I pulled out of my keister, which I've discovered is a very predominantly Minnesota word.
it's also predominantly where most of that stuff comes from.
Right? Yeah, they just spend a lot of time pulling it out of each other's keisters, mostly, and not. But they you don't just walk in one day and say I'm going to present this legislation. You don't present any legislation unless you go to your leadership first,
Yes. Yeah.
and your leadership rubber stamps it or doesn't rubber stamp it. And so the House Majority Leader and the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader all have this authoritarian ability to dictate legislation, and then they will also handpick people to author legislation. And when you're dealing with the Minnesota DFL, all of that legislation is going to be handpicked and passed around in such a way so as to garner the most votes based on somebody's identity politics is
Right.
what it's going to come down to. And
well, and unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of that in the legislature. They said, what was it? 19 senators that were in this previous session left politics completely. 1 ran for House and 3 ran for other offices, and 1 incumbent lost. So that's like 25 seat changes in the Senate. And then 20 representatives left politics, 11 left the House to run for Senate, 5 ran for other offices, and 8 incumbents lost their race. So that is like almost 40 seats in the House of Representatives that has changed to someone else. A lot of these people are inexperienced because they've never held positions of office before. And that's not to slight them. And
it may make them better.
It'll make them I think that it'll make them better ethically, but what it's going to do is it's going to make them less effective because these people who have been in it. So there's literally a guy who's been in office since before I was born.
Keep talking, Christine, until your computer restarts because my microphone is malfunctioning.
So yeah,
you guys wanted to see my armpit, right?
Are going to get led around by the nose. What's that?
Everybody wanted to see my armpit, so
yeah, these newbies are going to get led around by the nose, not necessarily willingly, but they're going to get led around by these experienced people. And you're right. Unfortunately, I don't think that that Nathan Wiesenberg is going to have much of a chance to make a huge difference in the next 2 years. Now, who knows what 2024 will hold, but we had a lot better chance when there were more people like Nate potentially getting those spots now that Nate's kind of on an island.
So this is what we really need people to do is we need people to reach out to Nate Wiesenberg and Walter Hudson and say, we've got your back. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get tough, but we've got your back. And, Christine, since you have all the Facebook contacts and I have crap. Sarah. Sexton bots. I don't even know what a sexton bot is, but Sarah's so pure she couldn't even type the word sex.
I'll try to hop back on when my computer.
Yeah, I was just saying, if your computer restarts,
Yeah.
I will, I'll shill for us and get people to subscribe and whatnot.
There you go.
I will. I'll do some sort of weird dance. I'll twerk or something. I don't know.
Do you really
Isn't that
need
what?
do you need your channel to get 2 strikes in 1 week? Really?
Are you implying that if I twerk, it's going to cause some sort of mass meltdown in the quantum physics world, and I'm going to get a strike for dangerous content?
I think so.
I haven't had anything to eat, but I have had a little bit of an adult beverage tonight. This might explain some things. But we do need people to reach out to Walter and Nate Wiesenberg and then ask them who they trust in the House, who they trust in the Senate. And we need to reach out to them. We need to keep guys like Nate and Walter coming on the show, whether it's, oh, it looks like your computer's, no, maybe not. I thought our computer was restarting.
1 minute.
And we need to get them on the show. And Christine and I are working on pulling together kind of a roundtable of all the people that I have interviewed over the last year and a half or so, and doing a roundtable conversation here on the channel about their experience with running for office and where they see things going from here. Christine's computer is going to put her mark her as non-essential here in a minute, and
Story of my life.
I know that feeling. I was essential for almost 2 years because they needed bodies. But
Right.
When she restarts and gets back on, I'm going to have we'll have a brief conversation about her training from the where'd you go? Like to another country.
Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership. And I don't know why my computer's not restarting. Maybe I misread that, but
Yeah.
maybe
I'm happy
it's
not
8:07 a.m.
I don't want to do this on my own. I'm scared. So, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't shared this out to any pages, please do, because I think this is a very important conversation for people to be listening to and taking part in. Like, comment, and share. Drive us up in the algorithm. Even if it's because you only think Christine's worth watching. So, I don't.
About that. Oh, there.
Oh, there we go. She's restarting. Come back, Christine. So yeah, like, comment, and share, my friends. And since we're waiting for Christine to come back, while we're doing that, I'm going to kick her. I kicked her. Yeah, I kicked Christine out. Darn it. But since we're waiting for Christine to get restarted and come back on, I will do a share of Dana's screen here, by the way. Not Dana's screen. That would be weird. I don't have that kind of power. So if you guys haven't yet, this is Christine's probate attorney fund on Gifts and Go. When we started this, she was at $25, and some of you have stepped up already, and we have pushed her up to $285. I'd like to see before Thanksgiving if you guys could share her page out. I'll put the link in the chat and then in the video description. If you guys could share this out, if of the 2,300 people that have subscribed to my channel, we could get 500 people to do $5. That would be amazing. That would take her well over almost to the 3,000 as of right now. $5. That's all. That's all I'm asking. 500 people to do $5, and enough of you have enough friends that we can make this happen. Because I know how you guys feel about the COOF pandemic stuff and the COOF protocols and all of that. I know how you guys feel, and I'm also working with Dana to get. Oh, I think Christine may have texted me. She says she'll be back in 2 minutes. So, yeah, share Dana's page if you would on Gifts and Go. Share that out, and once again, it's in the chat, and I will put it in the description in just a minute. And then also find people like um, Walter Hudson and Nate Wiesenberg and others, and let them know that we are seriously backing them. We are going to support them on this because this is very important. And when um, we do get back and we have the ability to um, talk to Christine again about what she had going on with the training that she was at last week, we're going to talk about the importance of training up people at the local level so that we're getting people. And I had this conversation with a gal that I ran into today when I stopped to pick up the beanies. And once again, my friends, if you haven't already, if you haven't done so, um, let, once again, beanies. Okay. Uh, but when I was picking up the beanie today, I had a conversation with a gal. She's like, "Hey, I saw your hats sitting here, and I knew exactly who they were for." And so a shout out to my friend at who works at C&M Printing and in Stewartville. Her name's Cindy. She walked up to me and she goes, "I'm one of the people that you highlighted in your video about the people who were leaving Mayo or going to be fired from Mayo for refusing to take the jab." So people like that are out there, but she said she was going to start paying attention to the channel. She didn't even know I had shows that I did. But yeah, anyway, let's see. Let's get some of the comments here. MCCL gets funds to get rid of people like Mortensen and Bishovsky. Yep, absolutely. MCCL is not interested in saving a single baby's life. MCCL is only interested in propagating the idea that they are for ending abortion when really what they're for is lobbying to end abortion. And lobbyists only make money when there's something to lobby about. And if you don't understand that, then there's not a lot that I can do for you. Christine's back.
That was
You're fired.
painful.
That wasn't. Yeah, it was. I was not ready to ad lib tonight. I was just not in the.
I like all this. I'm like, oh, maybe it's not going to go away, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, there it goes. And then
I was not ready to ad lib tonight,
I
so
thought
it
it
was
was going to
awkward
be
as
bad
hell.
like that. It went like it restarted really quick, and then it just sat there. It was like 97, 98, 99, and it hung at 99 for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, normally for me, when my bank account's going up, it's a lot longer to go up, but when it's going down, it goes down very fast. So,
Oh, yeah. Dang
but
technology. All right.
so yeah. So anyway, you went to
The Foundation for
yes.
Applied Conservative Leadership, so or FACL, as they call it
That
for
sounds
short.
like a condition. Is there like a cream for it or what? I don't...
So it's actually Edwin Hahn up by Moorhead put this on.
Edwin and I are friends. I know
Yes.
Edwin.
So he, him and his wife Lisa.
Wait, no, I'm not on Facebook anymore. So does that mean I don't have friends anymore?
That's exactly what that means. Didn't anybody tell you if it's not on the metaverse, it's not in real life?
So none of you like me?
Darn. But no, so Edwin and Lisa had attended this training. I think Lisa told me it was a year ago or maybe a little bit more than that. And so they decided to host one. And I made the 2-hour drive all the way to West Fargo and sat in this 8-hour course on a Saturday with at least one person who is in the audience.
Yes, Sue, we just put you on blast. I'm gonna
Yeah,
just
we did.
I name drop all over the place.
So, but it was great. It was very inspirational, and it gives all that angst that you have pent up. And I mean, most of us who are real conservatives and you know are wanting our party to be real really conservative.
I was perplexed by your term. I am not angsty.
I swear, if you go and look at the Webster's dictionary and look at the word angst,
Careful, you know I have the ability to do this, right?
there will be a picture of your face next to.
I'm still the showrunner.
That is true. I don't even know how to do the StreamYard thing, so. But yeah,
I can give you the logins, but I don't trust you. You'd probably boot me from my own show.
Yeah, your computer would have to mysteriously restart. But no, so it gives you direction to use that for the betterment of the party. Your party.
See, I am not angsty. I am giving people direction on how to use their angst. And I had this conversation with this gal that I met today. She took part in a video that I put together for Mayo employees who were being fired or forced out of their jobs for refusing the jab. And she was at the place that made my beanies in Stewartville, Minnesota. And she said, "Hey, I saw your beanies." And I told the boss, "I know that guy. I'm famous."
That's pretty cool.
YouTube famous. But I told her that the same thing that all of you have heard me say. Christine, you've heard this, and it's probably getting like repetitive for people, but I don't care who's in the governor's position. I don't care who's the attorney general. I don't care who's president. I don't care who's in the House or the Senate. And I'm not saying that in a flippant way, like I literally don't care at all. But what we have to really get better at, and I think that this Center for the Applied Conservative Politics
Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership.
Feckle.
Feckle.
Is that what I put on the wall back here? Feckle? Is that
Spackle?
Oh, spackle. Okay. Spackle, fackle, tackle. Something the Vikings aren't very good at. Tackle. But
I don't get myself involved in feetball. That's an even bigger disappointment than.
Did you say feetball?
Feetball.
Feet. But the thing that to me that becomes powerfully obvious is that we have spent so much time as conservatives or paleo conservatives or paleo libertarians or Mises libertarians, whatever, that a lot of people have focused on winning these, national elections, constitutional offices and whatnot, where what we have to do, and this is what I told this person today, we have to take over our city councils. We have to take over our mayor's positions. We have to take over our county commissions. We have to take over the state, clerks at the county level. We have to, this is Patrick, throw me off. We have to take over these positions at the local level, sheriff, whatever it might be. We have to have them. We have to capture them, because when the governor does something asinine, which, when you're Tim Walz, everything you do in office is asinine.
Yes. And out of office.
Well, I'm sure, what? I bet he loves his wife and his kids. I really do.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does. And you know what? I honestly, if I were sitting in a bar in St. Paul and Tim Walz walked by, I'd buy him a beer. I'd buy him a Busch because I don't like him. And I would only buy Busch for people I don't like. Oh. But I'd buy the guy a beer and I'd have a talk with him. I really would. I'm not, I don't hate him. I hate his politics.
Yeah, but he hates you. That's the thing.
He probably does hate me by name at this point, because
he doesn't necessarily. I'm not saying like necessarily you as a person. I'm saying he hates.
No, I'm pretty sure he does.
All of his constituents. He hates every single one of them, but especially the ones that don't like his politics. And he made that very evident in 2020 and 2021.
Right.
He flat out hates us.
No, absolutely. And I no, Seymour.
I'm with you.
No, Seymour, you don't have to apologize for saying that. I hate his politics, but I think I could probably sit down and, start off with hey, we both had interesting experiences in the Minnesota National Guard.
Indeed. Where you were 19-year-old cooks, I'm sure.
No, I was older than that, but I hated my National Guard experience because I went from the 82nd Airborne. Bob, that's for us. Bob and I both served at Fort Bragg. I think we might even have been around there at about the same time. But Bob did the noble thing and stayed in, and I got out and went into the National Guard and said, I can't do this anymore, and resigned. So I could not do National Guard after being with the 82nd. But anyway, I could have a drink with him. I really could. I could sit down and have a conversation with him. So it's not an issue of not liking him, but it's an issue of being able to look at the state level. Or, let's say you're a municipality. Like, I live in a really small town. I'm the largest city in Fillmore County, but it's a small town. But if I could capture the mayoral spot and I could capture the city council and the county commission does something asinine and says, we're going to we're going to lock the county down. My city could, thumb their nose at the county and on up the line and say, we're not going to do that. And not only that, we're not going to allow you to enforce that stupid order in this town. We have to get people who are liberty minded, constitutionally minded people, conservative, paleo-libertarian, Mises libertarian types into these positions to start practicing nullification.
And that's what they do touch on that in the training. Actually, they do touch on that.
I don't even need it.
Well, okay, so I would highly recommend it for everyone. And what I will say is, if this is perking your ears up at all, so we're going to be hosting a couple in central Minnesota. But if you're not in central Minnesota and if you're in another part of the state, look up Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership and watch their Real Nature of Politics video on their website. That's what convinced me to go to the class. It's like an 18-minute video, but it's just like riveting. Like I was glued.
I think that might be too long.
Yeah. I was just glued to it. It's called The Real Nature of Politics. It's on their website. And if you like what you see and you want to hear more, and trust me, you will, get a hold of them and request a class, because you don't have out-of-pocket expense for hosting the class. What you put into it is sweat equity. You get the people there to participate. So if you know at least 20 other... Go ahead.
So here's what we're going to do, Christine. You're going to reach out to FACL. Christine's like, as the showrunner, I'm giving you directions here because I can do that, and then you can tell me in the chat later on to shut up and leave you alone because you have enough going on. We're gonna get a hold of the FACL people and we're gonna get them on.
Well, I think you might get turned down because they're too busy out teaching courses.
You can find one person, Christine.
Well, we'll see. I don't know.
One person, Krista. One. That's all.
They tend not. See, here's the thing. They don't publicize a lot of what they teach because it's.
I don't want them to publicize what they're teaching. I want them to come on and give us 15 minutes.
Okay.
It's a challenge. I know, but you can do it. I don't know how to find these people. You think I am? Tech savvy?
Yes, I would say that anybody who's interested in a class, definitely take it, because I mean it's good stuff.
She's gonna message me later. Don't give me orders. I'm totally tongue in cheek right now. Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership.
Yep. Yeah, definitely a must. And they have other types of courses too, but the one that I went to was their core course, and I agree 100%, Sue. I agree 100%.
For those of you who might be listening but not watching, Sue said, but even your local politicians have to be watched, no matter how great they are. Right. I 1776% agree with that. and that's why I say the local positions are even more important than the federal, state, or the state levels, because I can literally pay. I could go, hey, who bought you that coffee while they're at the coffee shop, right? Where you're not going to get that with somebody else. Or I could say, hey, let's sit down and have copy, a coffee. I should not have had something to drink before I did a show on an empty stomach. Uh, I could sit down with someone and say, let's have a conversation. And I did that. I finally nailed down a conversation with a local person running for office. And as I mentioned, Justin, he has very strong libertarian, like a genuine libertarian, not weird, like Supreme Vermin type libertarian positions,
Yeah.
but actual very strong libertarian leanings. And he ran for city council here in Spring Valley, and he won.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that this class doesn't necessarily focus on getting people elected. It's on getting people who are elected to do what you want them to do, what you, the people, we, the people, want them to do, and how you influence a politician. And there's a lot of information about the psychology behind dealing with a politician. And I don't know. I cannot speak highly enough of it. It was literally a huge eye opener for me, and it made me reconsider a lot of my plans for how to handle my local politicians in the future. Some of it I was already doing. Some of it I was already
Hey,
doing.
what are you talking about?
Just by nature of being me.
Well, let's not advertise that you were a campaign manager yet.
No, I would do it again for Ashley. I would be her campaign manager again, but
What about when Patrick runs for office? Would you manage his campaign?
I would be Patrick's treasurer.
Treasurer. You would be. He probably needs a treasurer more than a campaign manager.
Well, here's the thing about being a campaign manager is Ashley was a really strong voice, and there would be times when I would be like almost trying to get her to reel it in a little bit, and every time I did that, she'd be like, hell no, I'm not reeling it in, and she'd say whatever it was that she was going to say, and I would just kind of be like, oh god, and it would turn out fine. And so it took me a while to stop doing that. And I'm just afraid that any candidate that I would be willing to help is going to be like that. And I'm going to have to reteach myself to do that every time, because the candidates that I like are the mouthy ones.
Patrick. Patrick.
Yeah.
Patrick has gotten so much flack since the election, so he's
Yeah. Well, and so the funny thing about Patrick is that he was probably on both sides of that, right? Because if he were to be a candidate, he would be the mouthy candidate, right? But he also managed a mouthy candidate.
which is ironic because his candidate that he was managing wasn't nearly as mouthy as he is.
No, that's true.
My phone is gonna be blowing up after this. I'm surprised it hasn't blown up.
Right.
Oh, Pat knows I love him. So we've already pushed over our 45 minutes. So
Yeah, we better.
We lost our 45-minute crowd.
Wrap her up.
So I think coming up, I still want to cover party platforms and the planks and talk a little bit about them. It's probably going to have to be one show per party platform, so it doesn't go too long.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to delve into the DFL platform first out of the gate, because that's who's in charge of Minnesota now.
Right.
And when you look at the way the state voted, it's a sea of reds, with spots of blue, but those spots of blue are heavily influenced metro areas that you're just never going to be able to beat with the kind of strategy that the Minnesota GOP used. And the Libertarian Party of Minnesota's got its work cut out for it. And let's be honest, they got to get organized.
Yeah.
They need to get organized. If they don't get organized, they're going to just continue to do what the Libertarian Party has done time and time and time again, and that's make poor showings, because they will not get united. And here in Minnesota, there's a strong Mises flavor to a lot of the people in the Libertarian Party, but they're not willing to. My perspective has been is they're not willing to tell people get with the program, because that's not very libertarian.
No, that's the problem with libertarians is they're all rugged individuals. So
That's not the problem. That's what makes them wonderful.
that is, but it's not.
But it doesn't lead to
It's not a good
cohesion in their rugged individualism.
Yeah, it's not a good recipe for successful party running, and
No,
so
it could be. It could be. If you look at the National Libertarian Party, they have a resounding mandate from the Libertarian Party people across the United States to not be wokies and not to go to the left. The problem is that the individual states haven't gotten rid of you know what? I am with you. I'm with you, but we need cohesion. The Libertarian Party of Minnesota needs cohesion, and I would love to see that.
part of the problem with that, though, is half of the libertarians, and I would almost throw myself into this ring, are anarchists, and not like in the oh my god, no law, everything's burning sense of anarchy.
They're
I'm just talking about
anarcho-capitalists.
there's really no need for government except for the military.
How are you people doing? How are you doing, people? How are you doing, people?
Good.
I don't know how to. That's
Yes,
that's a little-
Patrick, we will definitely talk about the Republicans after. I am very, 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 very interested to see how State Central goes down. No, I'm not optimistic, but I'm interested.
I'm very So we'll hold off. So we'll do the DFL next, and then we will do the Libertarian Party platform, and that's the thing. So Papana, Papana, Fana Bobe. I don't know. Whatever you want to say about the Libertarians, like you have a platform. The Libertarian Party has a platform. It literally does. And so I think there is a place for the big L Libertarian Party to tell people to get with the program. There really is. Like if you're a leftist in the Libertarian Party, but you've always been a leftist libertarian, then maybe the Libertarian Party is not the right place for you anymore, because the Libertarian Party has dismissed leftist politics. It's also dismissed, for lack of better terminology, hard right politics. What it's embraced has been liberty-minded conservatism, constitutional originalism. It's embraced that, which is what it should be embracing. And that's a program we should all be able to get with and get behind. But we saw this play out in Arizona with the Libertarian candidate for Senate there, and the GOP candidate Masters, who the Libertarian Party candidate finally dropped out and threw his support to Masters, but now it looks like he lost, while they're also trying to tear down Kari Lake as well.
Yeah.
Now, had that move been made sooner, because Masters is a Mises level libertarian, he just happens to be running as a GOP candidate, and he's got some mega tendencies, which, like it's some of us, all of us to some degree or another, probably have those tendencies.
Yeah. Well, so whether you love him or hate him, I think that the one thing that Donald Trump did accomplish was getting everyday people more involved in their politics, which is exactly why you saw so many first timers going to caucuses and things like that in 2022. Like pretty much everybody that I've met as a result of getting involved with Ashley's campaign this year, they were all like, oh, I never got into politics this much before. You know, I paid attention to things, but I didn't go to caucus and I didn't vote in primaries, and the same was true for me. And so for any and all of his faults, I think that the biggest accomplishment that Donald Trump made was getting everyday people to pay more attention to their politics. And maybe that is a process of draining the swamp.
No, but anyway.
That's for another time, or we'll go on for another hour.
Yeah, we still haven't had a bonfire yet, but we'll get there. I just received a text message that a house in our neighborhood is in the middle of a massive fire. So,
oh God,
yeah.
Well, that's no good.
It's probably shouldn't have said bonfire, but so yeah, we'll be Christine and I will be communicating and letting you guys know, and we'll be coming back on we'll break down the DFL platform. Just so everybody's aware, Christine does a lot of the research, and then I have her send me talking points most of the time. It didn't happen so much. She's been busy at work. I've got a job. She's like, you don't pay me enough. I have to keep my job. So if you guys want Christine to be able to do more research work, you have to start paying me more so I can tell Christine that I'm getting paid more.
Yeah, Sue, I think you're right. Sue says, I'm pretty sure that the ours will not let any widespread or let there be any more widespread participation. Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, the GOP is dead set on kicking out any dissenting voices, and by dissenting voices, they mean anybody that's not a leftist.
That's why at some point we need to talk about the art of whisper campaigns. They can be used for good. They're not just evil.
I'm not good at whispering.
It's not literal whispering.
Are we going to do our next episode as ASMR?
You know, I had to look up what that meant the other day because my kid finds all of these ASMR videos and I'm like, what does that even mean? It sounds dirty. So I looked it up and I'm like, oh, okay.
ASMR? What are you doing? I'm watching ASMR. Don't look.
Oh. Yes, Patrick, you definitely need to be on the show to talk about December with the State Central. Forget the show. You need to be feeding me live information on December.
Yeah, like actually, when is that? Is that a Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Saturday, December 3rd.
Central is in St. Cloud. It's at the Technical College.
Oh,
so
this gives TC an idea. What if I set up a StreamYard link to send it to Patrick to have him stream State Central from his phone?
That's going to be up to Patrick because I don't know what the rules are, but I have a feeling that they're not going to like that.
Who cares?
Patrick would probably care.
Trust me, I've seen some of the arguments he's been in lately. Anyway, yeah. No, we would never do that. We would never violate State Central rules ever.
No,
because they are perfectly obedient to their own platform and rules.
Yeah, they're 100% on
all the time.
Yep,
all the time. Always back all the endorsed candidates and would never run somebody in the primaries against an endorsed candidate ever. They would never do that.
Yeah.
Patrick says never. But anyway. So before the next episode 4, we will be Christine will be working on breaking down the platform, and we'll be talking about it for the DFL, because that's the platform that's going to drive the agenda for Minnesota over the next couple of years, frankly, ladies and gentlemen. And you all need to buckle up, it's going to be rough. It will be rough. There will be another pandemic of some sort. You just have to count on it. It may be down the road, but Governor Flannelmouth has promised to bring California emissions standards to Minnesota to include you an electric car, like by force if necessary. So you just have to think about that in Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Mandatory
Let's hope
electric
that the
cars.
State Auto Dealers Association is successful in their lawsuit because they're currently suing over that. So
Yes, that just so if you like the cat, you have to tune in because every time Christine comes on, the cat is here.
yes,
Yes.
he's waiting for his big break. So if you know any cat agents, please have them contact me.
Right.
As his rent is way overdue and he's looking at eviction.
Something tells me that cat's more in charge than you are.
Yeah,
So-
he is for sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, like this video, comment on the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. If only for navigating the Northwoods, because it's going to be, I believe, everybody's like, so how do you feel about the election, TC? And I said, Minnesota politics is a gift that keeps on giving. Just when you think there's nothing left for TC to talk about, they're back at it. And here we are. So, and now I've got a co-host who can do a lot of research, so I don't have to do it all for myself all the time. So, yeah. So tune in and like, comment, and share this out. Share out my drive time dialectic videos. Those are always fun because no one ever gets mad at me for anything I say in those. Disinformation. But yeah, anyway, and once again, if you haven't, please head over to Dana's Give, Send, Go for her probate attorney fund. Once again, any person giving $100 or more gets a $15 credit to the merchandise, and that I have, and that's basically a bag of coffee, and I'll cover shipping as long as you can show that you actually did give the $100. And if you choose to just buy merchandise from me or to go over to Subscribestar to help out the show, to keep series like Navigating the Northwoods and Defining Good Cop and Monday Night Musings and all these others going, then 50% of my proceeds between now and the end of January are going directly to Dana's Give, Send, Go, a fundraiser for the probate attorney, because it's incredibly important. And once again, everybody's been asking. So, and Sarah, if you're still watching, you know you were asking for the beanies. And Patrick said he has to have one, and his people are going to get a hold of my people. And I guess that means that he's going to get a hold of Christine. I don't know. Because Christine is my people. That's the only people I have besides me. And I don't want to talk to Patrick anymore. He talked to me already today. So, and then he's going to yell at me for picking on him. And so, well, you know, if you want to wear the hat, you can email me, tcpearson@protonmail.com, or you could find Christine and tell her you want to buy a hat, and then she'll just forward the message. I got nuked on Facebook, so I have to rely on Christine for a lot of this. But yeah, head over and help Dana out, and or let me know if you want to buy coffee or any merchandise. And we are going to get some merchandise with the Navigating the Northwoods logos on it.
Yeah. Well, that means I have to get it vector art for you.
I don't know what vector art is, but I'm going to trust you on that. So, any closing thoughts, Christine, before I leave and go pan roast myself a sirloin?
Yes. If you well, thank you for all of you who joined us live. And if there's one thing that you can do to make yourself more aware of what's going on in the state legislature, there are several options to subscribe to the actions of your state legislature or state legislator. You can subscribe to the calendars for both sides of the legislature. If you go to Minnesota Legislature, the website, subscribe to all that stuff, because that's one really easy way to keep an eye on what's going on. And
Absolutely.
it's imperative that we do.
Yep, absolutely. Stay in. Was that your cat?
No, that was my child. She's
Outside.
definitely time to go.
Time to go. All right.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, your daughter has given us the. Was that your daughter?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Your. Well, I was hoping it wasn't your hubby because that was a little weird.
He probably sent her over here to tell me.
But yeah. So as always, fight for your liberty. It belongs to you. Fight for your freedom. It is yours. And Christine, until next time.
Six Semper Fi.
What? Six Semper Tyrannis. What do you?
Oh, sorry. I'm distracted by
That's why we gotta rehearse. We can't do these unrehearsed. Six
Sorry.
Semper Fi. What? That's always fidelity. I shouldn't. I set you up for that. That was
Put me on the spot.
put you on the Six Semper Tyrannis, people. Christine and I are out of here.
We are go for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.